How's it going out there? It's Thursday, July 14th. I'm Frank Curzio. It's the Wall Street Unplugged podcast where I break down the headlines and tell you what's really moving these markets. Today's Thursday, interview day, and I have a great one set up for you, which I taped at the Meta Expo in Vegas this past weekend. Met so many amazing people there. But her name is RJ White, who is the owner of the Vipers Pro Men's Basketball team, and she just bought another team in Europe. First woman black owner, and I hate it, and we talk about this in the podcast, labeling her, but just an amazing, amazing person. I mean, someone who worked hard to get where she is, an inspiration to so many young women who play basketball. She also runs a big basketball camp for Nike, men and women, in Illinois. But you could see why this is personal to me as someone that you know loves basketball, has two daughters that play basketball, and just to see her break through. This is an interview that gave me goosebumps. Not only that, she is going all in on the metaverse, which you're about to find out why. But this is going to be an awesome, awesome interview, and let's get to it right now. Here's RJ White. So, pleasure having you here, RJ, and I don't even want to build it up. I just want you to build it up. So, actually, I'm going to build it up now because I'm excited. So, women owner, two teams. Just not only is it inspiring and what you're doing for the community, but how did you get here and talk about the teams and talk about the journey?
Man, journey is the exact word, literally. 6 years old. I was just letting a few people here know about my story growing up. At 6 years old, I knew I wanted to own an NBA team. So I told this to my dad, at 6, you need to just sit down for a second. I know you're late for work, but we got to talk. At 6 years old, when most girls are probably playing with Barbie dolls and baby dolls, I'm like, so if we can reposition the Detroit Pistons to have more behind the scene footage, I think that we'll have more people coming to the games on fans. It was just really crazy. But at 6 years old, I knew I wanted to own an NBA team, and I knew I also had to get my feet wet. So that's kind of where the Vipers came about. It was like, okay, you got to have your test run, right? I didn't know it was going to be that big. I didn't know we were going to be in 12 countries, 5.1 million analytics. I didn't know it was going to grow like wildfire. And then it opened up a lot of other doors for me, which is how it opened up the door for me for my soon, second team.
The second team is in Europe, and you met someone who's a little important, right?
I would say the queen is very important. Yes.
Did you hug her? Did you shake?
No, you can't touch her at all. I've come across some very eclectic people in this journey. Me also finding out recently that I am the first African-American female in history to own a pro men's team in Europe. Mm-hmm. Didn't know that at all until I started doing my own research because I thought they were planning a prank on me. Mm-hmm. And turns out that is the case. And I've always, like I said, wanted to own an NBA team, and now those conversations are being had. So
your accomplishments here are unbelievable. And I think it's really hard for you to say, how do I think bigger, right? Because there's so many accomplishments, but yet, for me, when I look at you, I see that this is a door that you just opened up.
I see one of many, right?
Right. No, but it's because now you're inspiring so many people. And talk about your social media following. How many people are following you? Because these people are watching everything that you do, and now they're like, "Holy cow, she did it! Now I can do it."
Yeah, that's funny because that's actually the name of my children's book. She said she could, so she did. Yeah, literally.
I had no idea.
And
cool.
It won't come out until I'm releasing it close to my birthday. But it's surreal. I've had conversations with some of the girls of Jamaica, and I've had some conversations with some of the girls of Europe, and just to hear the motivation, that I give them that dreams are possible, especially in a field where it's more male dominated. Mm-hmm. Just the fact that you could actually accomplish that being a woman and being who you are, and staying consistent and staying focused on your goal. I think that's why they follow me. Originality, mm-hmm. Because a lot of what's going on right now is all about the media, right? Mm-hmm. It's all about the influencers, and mm-hmm. to hear somebody that has a story where it started from a small tyke and I grew into what I wanted to be. I do see why.
Well, how come that door is so hard to open? So somebody told me this, but I have more women, I think, employees in my company than men. Mm. But I didn't hire them because they're women. I hired them because they were the best.
Right.
It's just, I'm going to hire the best people. Mm-hmm. And are you seeing that more where it's not just like, oh, wow, we need a women owner. It's like, no, this girl really knows what she's doing. And we need, are you getting support from everywhere? How big is this?
I'm getting support from all over, and I do agree with you on that. I think that because now the trend is the first female X, Y, and Z, which it just kind of
it takes it away from it. I'm
Yeah,
like, man, it's like
it does.
it's just like you're an owner.
You just
But when you
reminded
label
people.
it, I'm like, why? For me, that always bothers me, because I'm like, it kind of takes away your accomplishment, how hard you work sometimes. I'm like, man, you work really hard to get here, and it's not easy just because you're something where, and that's why I see that. Like me, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, because to see how you did this and when you came, that it's not easy, right?
No, not at all. And it's just mind blowing to know that now we're in the times where it's the first female something, and it's like we're in 2022, and we're talking about the first female of anything.
Really? I know.
And for me, people always ask me, "It's like, what's your biggest challenge?" And I'm like, I'm just getting started, and I haven't had any yet. So imagine when I get to where I'm going, and I don't think I'll have any there either. But I just like the fact that I can deliver.
So this is a pretty easy question. Where are you going?
The goal is the NBA. Which one of the cameras? The goal is the NBA right now.
Any particular team, or is it just getting in there?
No,
which is always hard, right? I mean, it's not like you
it's-
can pick a team. It's what
I think it's just getting my foot in the door. And I don't want the big guys yet. They can have the big teams. Right now, I'm aiming for G League. And like I said, those conversations are being had. So,
talking about G League compared to WNBA, I mean, for me, it's almost like college basketball compared to the NBA. It's like, you all out playing, and sometimes it takes it away about the amount of money you're making, because it is a business. It is a business, but the G League and the people that you're dealing with, and I mean, these are like, I feel like it's not that the pros don't work hard, but it's like what the passion is there. Like they're doing this because they love basketball.
Oh yeah.
And are you easily to spot the people that, hey, you know what, you got what it takes to get to the next level?
Oh yeah, like that's actually the reason why I selected the G League first. It was because those guys have grit. They're the ones putting in overtime. They're the ones that nobody knows who they are, just like myself. And I feel like the underdog always comes out on top. And I feel like that's what the G League consists of, and that's why I'm interested in it.
That's great. So next step here for you. So the time, I mean, you have a meeting. I don't know if you could say who you have a meeting with.
No, it's okay. No, not right now. But I do have some pretty big meetings coming up, and after that meeting happens,
I know. I just had to feel like I can say, which is cool. And you're like, I'm nervous about it. I'm like, you shouldn't be nervous. No,
I was nervous, literally. Like when I announced who it was with, as anybody would be. But like you told me, just be calm, be yourself. Just things will work out fine. And I think we're headed in the right direction.
So everyone wants to look at like how big the opportunity is. It's going to be great, but they don't really now the challenge is going to get bigger for you.
Oh yeah.
Right. They always do. And the challenge, I would think, is when you're at the level where you could help so many girls and give them more time. Now when you're on the business level and you want to grow, it's a different set of meetings. How do you keep that in your heart where, wow, I want to really inspire these kids, inspire all these people that are following me, but yet you are running businesses, which is hard. Is it to the point where, all right, it's time to get really a lot of people that I trust?
I feel like it's just one of those things you have to stay focused on the goal. And a part of being focused on the goal is manning everything around you. And for as long as you can keep in control everything around you, I think you'll keep the same narrative. You'll keep the same look, I guess you could say. And it keeps the same choice. So as hungry as you were, and as busy as you were, and as many people that you hired and had with you, I think you should keep those people with you and around you, so they can continue to keep you focused, and you can kind of keep staying focused on the prize going forward, if that makes sense.
The most important question by far.
Go ahead.
You're still playing basketball, right?
I ran track. My dad told me no. Wherever the camera is, my dad was like, no, you're not hooping right now. You're going to focus on the business. And I respect and appreciate him, my mom too, until this very day, because they kept me very focused on what the goal was, which was my dream. If I would have played basketball, just being honest with my mentality, I mean, obviously look at what I've accomplished, I probably would have went to the league. My goal then would have been probably focusing on me being a player within the league. I could see that. And then from there, probably ownership within the league that I was in, and most likely probably dominating. So I feel like he did a good job by telling me, like, okay, you could stay athletic, go run track, you could do good at it, you'll do good at it, which I was great at it. And stay focused on the business. And I think it worked out great.
So this is probably the most special interview for me. One is, I told you, basketball's my life.
Yes.
And you know how that is. It's everything to me. And even now, I still have the passion for it. But even my daughters play. And you want to inspire them. And when you ask them, what do you want to do? You want to play basketball? It's like, all right, WNBA. But there's got to be more to that, right? I mean, it's got to be more where if that's the goal, not just because it's selected, right? You got to be great. But there needs to be more out there, right? More that you could do. And how do you get that where inspire my daughters to keep playing? especially challenging so many things that are out there with social media and everything. You want them to play, but I mean, I just feel like the NBA, the WNBA is here, but there's so much more to basketball. Like what I've learned allowed me to be successful, in business, and you can find successful not necessarily by money or whatever, but just have a good following. Mm-hmm. But how important is that to keep inspiring these kids? Because I think it's more challenging now than it was for me, because we used to go outside all day. Now these kids are playing video games, want to be on the phone.
Yeah. I think it's very important, because that's actually the number one thing. You got to get them off of the couch and get them outside, mm-hmm. and you got to get them off the couch and get them into their niche or into their, the sport or field. I feel like girls all over the world, not just in the United States, Europe, they're losing their interest in the game of basketball. And I think that's because they don't have the vision of where basketball can take them. And they don't have really a lot of voice and opinion on what to do next, and I do think that me being that voice, I guess I could say, mm-hmm. Of just making sure that you have structure. So say, for instance, if a young girl does play WNBA, now that you're in the WNBA, what are you investing in? Where does your career path take you? Do you have your own shoe line? Are you doing your own level of branding? I think that's a lot of the things that we're missing. And I think that because they don't see that and there isn't, a lane for them to follow there, I think that's why they say, well, where does it lead me? Mm-hmm. And so I'm cool with being that voice. I'm mm-hmm. cool with being that person that, they can ask or look up to in regards to that scenario. But my main things to them will be create your own lane. If you what they say, opportunity ain't nothing but for you to create something yourself if it ain't there yet. So I think it'd be cool. So,
last thing here, branding. How does that factor into the metaverse?
Man, branding is big because the metaverse is like a new oyster. Kind of to your question, like, what is the metaverse? I don't think anybody knows, and that's the best part about it. Like, for as long as you don't know something, you can create it, and I think that's what the metaverse will do for us. Branding for us is a $1 billion organization right now.
Yeah. It's so much opportunity.
Too much opportunity, especially for me and my mindset. Mm-hmm. It's expansive.
And are you getting a lot of questions from that, or is it because, like you said, sometimes it goes WNBA or the NBA, and I've talked to people right here that represent some of these, whether the agents, and they're trying to educate them, and they're older and saying, look, the average person doesn't do what LeBron does, and you got to prepare, and it's hard to tell these people to prepare. But are you getting those questions? Are you trying to? Yeah.
Definitely on all walks and facets, because you have parents that want to get their kids ready for the metaverse because it's the new futuristic thing. So maybe they want to do cohorts on making sure that their kids understand what metaverse is. And then you have people in sports that's saying, like, how do we get into the metaverse when it comes to sports, which is, our lane. And then you say, what is metaverse in general, mm-hmm. right? So I do think that it's just different things that you can do there. And branding and being yourself is actually going to be the number one thing.
That's cool. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. Listen, keep doing what you're doing, because there's a lot of people watching. It's inspiring, and it's inspiring even to me. So I really appreciate you taking time to come on here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Look.
All right, thanks. So great stuff from RJ. And that meeting, I believe, is with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. I believe. Because she did a poll of how many young girls watch the NBA. And it was a super low percentage. I want to say 5%, don't quote me on that, but it was really, really low. And Adam Silver probably wants to change that. How come more young women aren't watching the NBA? You could have your own reasons why, whatever. We're seeing NBA numbers down significantly. And I'm not talking about year over year with COVID. I'm talking about year 2019. So trying to figure that out as much as they can. It is going to be interesting, but RJ is just... Look, I could see her being a minor owner of an NBA team. I mean, super, super expensive. She won't be able to raise the money for that, but it makes a lot of sense. It really does. She has the experience, 2 professional men's basketball teams, and really exciting stuff. It's someone that, can point to my daughters and say, look, look at this person. Look what she did. She's also coming out with a book. And for me, it's just... I said it in the interview. I never look at hiring anyone based on race, based on gender. I just always hire the best person. And that's why I took away where I feel like sometimes when you label anyone, the first woman, the first black, the first this, it takes away from it. It seems like that's the reason why they got the job. And that's not the case. Sometimes it's the case. Sometimes in politics it could be the case. And that's why we got to stop saying that. The first this, the first that, the second this, second that. I mean, if we stop labeling, then, you don't have any of this crap, right? You don't have racism. You don't have anything. As long as we keep placing labels. And to see what she's accomplished and to see that she's just getting started, really, that interview gave me goosebumps. And just anything I can do to help her out. You could see how much she's focusing on the metaverse. The metaverse around obviously the Meta Expo, everybody that we spoke to, just the entrepreneurs that we saw there and their ideas. They just need help on structuring, on getting their message out. If you ever read a white paper, you would know why. You'll see my presentation in front of that audience, and it resonated with so many people that at the beginning, in the first day where our booth was set up and we were doing interviews, the first half of the day, we didn't really do anything. Everybody was opening up their booths, and then we started getting lots of interviews, but word started spreading rapidly. But then over the next 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, just our booth was filled with people. It was just, and the people were the companies, which is amazing because they saw how we could help them, and I saw how they could help us. And it was more like a partnership. Of course, we're going to need help with developers in the metaverse and things like that. We met dozens and dozens of developers that could help us immediately. They want to help us. And for me, I was able to help them and say, I'm starting to realize this in crypto. And when I analyzed these utility tokens, and I said, more than 90% are worthless, which we're seeing right now, a lot of these kids are launching and young people are launching them. They're just launching them because they think that's the way for them to raise money. And they don't understand that you're actually really, really screwing over all your investors because it doesn't have a utility function. I'm saying if you did a security token or if you provide something where your investors, I said this, it was never ever screw your investors. These are your family. This is people going to be around. I said, you could be wrong. You could be wrong. And that's fine, as long as they see you going all out and doing everything you possibly can. But the way your token's structured is, let me make money off it and screw everybody else, and you lose everyone that invested with you for the rest of your life, and you damage your name. Your name is your biggest asset. And a lot of these guys got great projects. So, I told them I need to simplify stuff because you read a white paper and you eliminate 99% of the audience because people aren't going to invest in things that they don't understand. I said that they need to give away equity, which, again, most people, and I would say more than 98% of people don't understand equity. And that's a hard sell because the metaverse is about equity. It's about having your own content, having ownership of it. And every employee wants equity, and a lot of business owners don't want to give it out. And I explained to them, hey, we did $3 million last year in revenue. How do we buy a $5 million asset? The largest virtual land purchase. And I explained to them, owning 75% of a company with maybe a $6-7 million valuation, but then we were able to sell off part of our company where people own an equity stake who backed me. And now we have a much higher valuation where it's like $65 million. Now we're looking at taking half stock, half cash, and we're able to sign this deal. Now we can go to other metaverse. Now we can grow the company. And our valuation, is the people who invested believe that where we're going is the right way. We're going to continue to grow this company, but now it gives us access. Not only we have access to almost all these metaverse companies, because word's getting out that they could trust us and we put our money where our mouth is, but now we have the Wall Street backing as well, where we have a good audience and, I know hedge fund managers and, over $120 billion has flowed in already into the metaverse. So hedge funds talk to other hedge funds and like, we need to get into this industry, but we don't really understand it and we need someone who could trust. So we're becoming a bridge. And one of the only companies there. So not even almost, I want to say every single company was just all over us. So it's not like you have a booth and you have all these customers coming in, because a lot of customers, they'll pay $99. They want to learn stuff. And maybe, again, I've been to conferences for a very, very long time, like the Money Show and stuff like that. And as a business, it doesn't really pay. It doesn't. I mean, you get a lot of people who are free and they want this. And yes, you get an opportunity to meet some of your customers who'll go to some of these shows. I'd rather host my own conference for Curzio Research. But, I made the team very clear that our audience are all these people in these booths, all these companies. And now we have access to so much within the metaverse, but you could see so many great ideas. And I'm going to release a lot of these videos going forward, probably about 75, 80 that we took. And you're going to see a lot of these guys have great ideas. We can help them structure their token. They have access to, their social media presence. Some of them are anywhere from 50,000 to, 10, 15 million, some of them, right? So now they're going to tell their audience about us and say, hey, these are guys that you could trust. And that's how you network and that's how you build. And just seeing how we're a bridge in this, this is a trend I truly believe in. If you don't believe in it, $120 billion in 6 months have flown into this industry. And you know what? There's not really a metaverse out there. I'm not talking about Oculus. You could say that that's a virtual platform, but they're all going to start launching the second half of this year with TCG, and by early next year, you're going to see a bunch of them. And you don't see $120 billion flow into an industry That's following the money. And a lot of people believe, I talked about the forecast of 10 trillion plus, and I showed you how big 10 trillion is compared to all the other trends combined. Major ones, AI, gaming, just EVs, all this stuff combined. 5G it comes about $6 trillion. Everyone's talking about Metaverse being $10 trillion plus. And this is not long. We're not far away from 2030. It seems like a long time, but it's not. Because building into that is going to be huge. That's why there's so many ways you can make money in this industry. So many ways. And the big money is flowing into this during a recession. That much money is coming into this industry. Something I've never saw in 30 years. The amount of money flowing into industry this new, where people have trouble identifying and explaining it. And that's why we're creating a movie, which is going to be called What the F is a Metaverse? Because we asked that question to everyone we interviewed and we got a different answer. Just like you would get a different answer if people explain the internet. I'm not saying this is the internet. I think it's going to be as big trend as the internet. I think it's one thing. But all these different metaverses are all platforms, and whoever has the most entertainment, the most fun, that's what people are going to flock to. That's going to be the new social media. That's going to be the ownership. And remember, if you're listening to this going, Frank, and I get this a lot, the metaverse, I don't know, we're early, it's going to take a couple of years. The whole entire younger generation up to 30 years old only grew up in the internet era, basically. And now they're all engulfed in social media. Now, a lot of these kids are entrepreneurs and they want to own their own stuff. They understand they don't own stuff when they're on Google, they're on YouTube, when they're on a platform like Facebook. They don't own it. And it's a reason why Facebook does a whole about face. There's a $1 trillion company at the time, when they made this announcement in October. $1 trillion company that has access to 3 of the 5 billion who are on the internet. They sit in your living room, so they know every single thing that people think, what they're going to do. The algorithms are there. And they just did an about face, said, we're going all in the metaverse. The thing is, that's not a true metaverse. They're going to have the audience. They're going to make it exciting. It's going to be gamification. It's going to be a virtual platform. The true open metaverse allows you to own all your content, create whatever you want. So you're unleashing creativity for millions and tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people and say, okay, let's see what you can make of this. And I got a taste of that at the Meta Expo with all these young people, and some of them aren't even that young. Some of them are 35, 40, 50, and you see other people getting in, famous people getting in that we interviewed. I'll present those interviews for you. It was just incredible to see so many different ideas. It's going to start with gaming, but gaming is a very small piece of the overall metaverse. That's going to give you a chance to see it. But when you're looking at social media and the time people spend and TikTok and stuff like that, a lot of that time is going to shift to the metaverse. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And if it just becomes 10, 15% of the digital economy, that's when you see the $1 trillion market, the total addressable market, which we're going to get there. So lots of ideas, lots of great interviews like with RJ, but you can see the whole young generation, they are getting into the metaverse. They're all going in. They want to own their own content. They see it and they deserve it. But they also need help structuring it, how to focus on getting investors in, making sure investors are getting their stake if it's worth it. And I told them, a lot of entrepreneurs, you're all entrepreneurs out there. And I had a big speech, keynote speech. And I said, there's a shot you could sell your company. And if you sell your company, you're probably going to still be young. You're still going to be an entrepreneur. You're going to want to start another company. And all you have to do is call any single person that invests in you and they'll write a check. And they won't even ask you the details of your company because you made them money. That's what I do. That's what people do. When you trust them and you made money in certain deals, that's how you build a massive network. Because if you do it the other way, which a lot of these kids are doing, they don't realize how this token is structured, is you end up making $1 million or $2 million. You think that's a lot of money, but you go crazy and start buying stupid stuff. Then you run out of money and you're trying to do whatever and nobody trusts you anymore because you ruined your name, which is the most valuable asset. So just seeing the people that we spoke to, RJ is one of them. We have tons of interviews. I'm going to share a lot of that content, especially through our YouTube page and on this podcast. But questions or comments, guys, about the metaverse or anything like that, give us a call. FrankCurzioResearch.com. That's Frank at CurzioResearch.com. Again, send me an email and we're going to find many ways and simple ways for you to play this trend. Not necessarily through stocks or not anything. It could be land purchases. We're going to point you to the right metaverses. All you need to do is buy some of this land and stick it in a wallet. That's it. If you want to develop it, you can develop it. You want to learn about it, learn about it. That is the entryway. That's the easy entryway. And you'll see a lot of those recommendations coming since I'm going to be interviewing so many of these people going forward because they all want to be in our movie, which we're going to hopefully launch within a few months. But a lot more interviews need to take place. I'm going to go to Miami in a couple of weeks, setting up so many great meetings with top metaverse companies. And again, you guys are going to have 100% access to all of this. Just because I'm a nice guy. And I like to be nice. Anyway, okay, questions, comments, I'm here, frankcurzioresearch.com. And have a great weekend, guys. I'll see you then. Bye.